So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. A little bit of a change of scenery. Filming a little bit different. Because it's Sunday and it's supposed to be the day of rest. I've got a live coming later on this evening. Do check that out if you haven't been part of that before. That is the mental health live. And I know the mental health situation isn't for all of you, but tonight we're talking about relationships in particular. Narcissistic, violent, toxic relationships. We've all known of those, I'm sure. But what are we talking about now? We're talking about the Stephen Smith case again, because I done a video yesterday and some people lost their minds a bit because they obviously didn't watch the entire video from start to finish, and they thought that I was saying that Buster Murdoch was not guilty, he wasn't involved, and that's not what I said. I said that there had been some people named, and if an apology to Buster was due, then he would get one, but just because people have been named, it doesn't mean that he's not involved. But there has been more movements in this case. So I can now tell you, for those of you who don't know, Stephen Smith's body has now been exhumed. So the private autopsy will go ahead. They set up the GoFundMe, that paid, they've had it done. He has now had his body exhumed. That has been done. So we shall wait and see what the findings of the independent autopsy will be. I'm guessing it's going to obviously show the extent of the injuries to his head, which I'm pretty sure that we all now know. But I hope it's going to be able to distinguish between, because things have moved on a long way, do you know what I mean? We can look at an injury and determine how that injury had been sustained, and I'm guessing they'd be able to tell the difference between an injury caused by, let's say, a baseball bat or a golf club, and say that of a vehicular wing mirror. I think that they should be able to do that, and if they can't, then perhaps they're not in the right profession. As I think even I could look at two pictures and think that looks like either a bat or a wing mirror. And look, they're trying to say that these people who are involved in this had said that they're still going with the struck him with a vehicle storyline. And I have a feeling that this is to try and make it look like an accident. I don't know whether someone's been paid off, whether someone has accepted a large sum of money to take the fall. It just seems that everyone's done 180 degrees on this, haven't they? And it just something just don't sit right. This entire Murdoch situation, even the Paul and Maggie murders, they don't sit right to me. There's just something in the background that just don't ring true to me. But look, who knows? I keep thinking to myself, do you know what? Did Alex just find that Paul was becoming a liability? Was he doing too much and he wanted to get rid of him, or he fell out with him and attacked him, and Maggie caught what was going on and she was collateral damage to an altercation between Alex and Paul? I don't know. But something just don't sit right to me. But let's look into this quickly. So, SLED cracks Stephen Smith's cell phone. So finally, after all these years, they've finally managed to get into the phone. Now, the big issue with the phone was that it seems that it was never sent off. Sandy Smith in her letter had stated that she had constantly questioned where the phone was and why the phone hadn't been sent for testing, and she said we still don't know who he was contacting, who he was speaking to, up until the point of his death. And it appeared that it hadn't even been sent off. They just put it away. But they've got the phone. They've cracked the phone. They're also saying that the rape kit, like a lot of people are questioning, hold on a second, if this was a vehicular death, then why was there a rape test done? And there's been sort of these notes of saying it was a hate crime. And I gave a nod to a scene in 13 Reasons Why, where a lad is attacked in the bathrooms at school and something is done to him. And I'm wondering whether this was a very similar situation. Did he have other injuries that were brushed under the carpet so the narrative of a hit and run could still be pushed? That's my thought process. But they're saying that the rape kit is still missing in possible hate crime murder. Attorneys represent the family of slain Hampden County teen say that state police have unlocked some key clues that may help them unravel an 8-year-old murder mystery. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, SLED, so we call them SLED, reopened the cold case of Stephen Smith, 19, at the time, who was 19 at the time of his death, and is now combing over key pieces of evidence with fresh eyes and new technological methods, including the young victim's cell phone and iPad tablet, said Eric Bland with Bland Richter LLP law firm representing the Smith family. SLED has his cell phone and they have cracked it. Funny how they've done that so quick. Bland told the Hampden County Guardian Thursday, and they have the tablet and are working on cracking that. Meanwhile, other possibly key pieces of evidence, including a rape kit, remain unaccounted for. And it said Smith's body was found lying in the middle of Sandy Run Road in rural Hampden County in the early hours of July 8, 2015, with fatal blunt force trauma to the head. And he had other secondary injuries. Now, we noted that they were on the arm, and for me that sounded like they were defensive injuries. If you've got a massive trauma to the head and then you've got minor injuries to the arms and hands and wrist area, that to me is defensive wounds. If you're walking down the road and you're clipped by a mirror, then there should be debris in the road, which there wasn't. You'd think there'd be glass, there'd be plastic, there'd be skid marks. They found Stephen with his shoes still on, and it was noted that his shoes were lightly tied, which brings into question two things. Would you be walking, because he was found 3 miles away from his car, would he be walking down the road for 3 miles with his shoes hanging off his feet? And if you'd then been clouted round the head by a car with such ferocity that you end up deceased, surely you would not be sitting in your shoes. That's not something that's generally found. So that still doesn't go with the story that is now being repushed with these new people of interest. Well, I say new. They came up right at the beginning, but I mean new to this period, and still trying to push that this was a truck situation. And that, to me, still trying to push this truck proves that this is still a load of shit. That's lies, and they're still trying to push a false narrative. And I still say that with these things happening, I cannot discount the Murdoch's involvement. Someone is being protected from somewhere. Originally ruled a vehicular hit-and-run homicide in 2015, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, SLED, reopened the case in June 2021. And on March 23rd of this year, SLED confirmed to the Smith family that it was officially considering the case a murder investigation. And Gloria Satterfield as well, a housekeeper, her body is going to be exhumed. I don't know whether it's been done yet. I don't think so, but they are going to be doing it. So there's more stuff coming. And like I say, yesterday in my video, I said an apology would come if an apology was due. But as time progresses and more stuff comes out, do I really truly think that an apology is coming and an apology is due? No, I fucking don't. Catch you all in the next one.